Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online VGC Series 1 ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be showcasing an absolutely wild strategy centered around weakness policy Psychic Tera Dudunsparce with stored power. This is paired with Pin Missile Loaded Dice Jolteon, and what that allows you to do is basically activate Dudunsparce's weakness policy and also activate its ability multiple times, which gives it a speed boost every time that it's hit by Pin Missile. And so the idea is that Dudunsparce can instantly turn into a monster, it'll get multiple speed boosts via its ability plus Pin Missile, it'll get the weakness policy boost as well, and then you have these very, very powerful stored powers that can one-shot so many Pokemon in the format. Dudunsparce is not a very common Pokemon in VGC, it just isn't really that amazing truthfully, and this strategy I think really can maximize how strong of a Pokemon it can be, and so I am really excited to feature it. When I saw this team I was like, this seems absolutely wild, and I have to showcase it. And so as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below, and thank you so much as always for watching. If you do enjoy, it'd mean a lot if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel, really helps me out a ton. So yeah, let's talk about this team. So first of all, this team was built by a Japanese player who I've linked down in the description below, as well as a rental and a paste down there, so huge thank you to them for building and sharing this team. This is easily one of the wildest teams that I've tried out so far in Scarlet and Violet, and I've been really impressed at how effective this strategy has been. That being said, I want to preface this with that, this is not a very easy strategy to pull off, so if you're looking for a team to consistently climb the ladder, I probably would not recommend this. I think where this team really shines is highlighting how you can find very cool ways to innovate with certain Pokemon that are just objectively a little bit weaker relative to other Pokemon in the format. Dudunsparce just doesn't see very much play, and like I said in the introduction, this just really maximizes its value. So it's always good to keep that in mind, right? Because I think it might be fun to watch a video like this and be like, oh, I'm gonna just stomp on everybody with the strategy. But when you use strategies like this, it often takes a little bit more kind of work to actually get it executed, but the payoff can be so satisfying. So I just wanted to preface with that. And question of the day, with Dudunsparce, being an evolution of Dunsparce, I want to know what Pokemon you think deserves an evolution. So let's start off with the Dudunsparce. Like I mentioned, this is Psychic Tera with weakness policy. Your ability Rattled raises your speed by 1 every time you're hit by a bug, dark, or ghost type attack or intimidated. And so this indeed stacks with Pin Missile, right? So the idea is you pair with Jolteon with Pin Missile, and you can give Dudunsparce at least +4 speed. With the loaded dice, you're guaranteed to hit at least 4 times with Pin Missile, so it's going to be 4 or 5. And the idea is Rattled obviously gives you multiple speed boosts, and you also have weakness policy. So when you Psychic Tera with weakness policy with Rattled, you're getting +4 speed, +2 attack, +2 special attack immediately, which is absolutely wild. Jolteon's also one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, and because of dynamic speed, it allows the Dudunsparce often to just move right after you get the combination off, which is very, very cool. The Dudunsparce here, first of all, has enough speed investment, so under Tailwind, you outspeed, it is, I believe, base 100 Pokemon, and everything lower than that, which is nice. Max special attack, and the rest just thrown into defense, because the Dudunsparce's base HP is already really solid. And so you're mainly using it for stored power here, which gives it +20 power for each of the user's stat boosts, but you also have Boom Burst and Flamethrower. This team has a lot of nice synergy as well with Boom Burst, right? Dudunsparce is normal typing, Boom Burst does a lot, and you have Annihilate and Gardevoir. Annihilate is ghost typing, so it's immune to Boom Burst, and Gardevoir here has telepathy, so it's also immune to the Boom Burst. And so the idea is to, self-target yourself, immediately activate this, and this can just knock out so many Pokemon with stored power once you get the strategy going, which is really cool. Jolteon, I already talked about a little bit. It's mainly used for Pin Missile. It's Bug Terra. By the way, Pin Missile with 4 hits, which are always guaranteed against no bulk Meowscarada if they haven't changed their typing through Protean, is a guaranteed 1-hit KO, which is crazy to me. And so you can actually use this to just essentially knock out Meowscarada, which I think is a very interesting counter to one of the most common Pokemon in the format. You also have Light Screen and Baby Doll Eyes for, special defense and, defense boost essentially, or really dropping your opponent's damage output, and then Thunder Wave. You just really want max speed here to make sure you're outspeeding Meowscarada, for example, and then the rest in HP. And yeah, I think this is just the coolest use of loaded dice that I've ever seen in Scarlet and Violet. The strategy is just so creative, and I would have never really been able to see something like this coming. So yeah, I'm just amazed by it. To round out the team, you've got Choice Band Meowscarada. This isn't anything too crazy. We have featured Meowscarada a lot. Like I mentioned, it's one of the most common Pokemon that people are using right now. Main thing to cover is that you have U-Turn, so this can be valuable into opposing Meowscaradas, and then you also have Play Rough, which is really valuable into some of the dragons, like Garchomp and Hydreigon, for example. You've got Eviolite Murkrow here. This just gives you speed control. This can be valuable into opposing fast teams because, you sometimes will just get outsped against like opposing Tailwind teams if you don't set up your own Tailwind. But if Murkrow sets up Tailwind, then Jolteon often will just be the fastest Pokemon, both on your side of the field and your opponent's side of the field. Quash is the one move to call out here. Sometimes you'll see Taunt over this, but Quash is very valuable in delaying your opponent's attacks. It means you can go for stuff like Murkrow Meowscarada, Murkrow Gardevoir, Murkrow Annihilate. Murkrow Annihilate is where I think Quash is especially potent, because like Meowscarada and Gardevoir are actually pretty fast. But this is also valuable against like Trick Room comps, for example. And so, yeah. To round out the team, you've got Bulk Up, Annihilate with leftovers, and Fire Tera. This is a pretty standard set in the format right now. This slows down the pace a little bit, which is pretty cool. And so, yeah, this also, has some interesting applications next to the Jolteon. And then the final Pokemon here is the Gardevoir, which is a Choice Scarf variant, Fairy Tera, and you've got Moonblast, Psyshock, Dazzling Gleam, and Trick. This just does a lot of damage, and Gardevoir pressures things like Hydreigon, Garchomp, and Meowscarada as well. And with the Choice Scarf, you're able to outspeed all of those, whereas without the Scarf, they will outspeed you. So, yeah. Generally, when I use this team, I first ask myself, how can I utilize Jolteon and Dudunsparce? Can I lead with it? There are a lot of games where I'll lead with, like, a combination of these 4 Pokemon, naturally, but especially things like, a lot of heavy offense immediately, like Gardevoir plus Meowscarada, which is a lot of fast-paced offense. If they have opposing speed control, I often will look towards Tailwinding with Murkrow, getting some early damage off with Annihilate, with Meowscarada or Gardevoir, and Annihilate to a lesser extent, and then close out the game with Jolteon and Dudunsparce. So, yeah. But I'm really here to feature the Dudunsparce, so we'll see what we can do with it. And as I've been doing, I'm going to also now talk about some of the weaknesses that this team suffers from. So in regards to weaknesses, I think the first thing to note is that you are really frail with a lot of Pokemon, right? Like the Meowscarada and the Gardevoir are 2 of your best offensive tools, but they go down very easily because they have no bulk whatsoever. Also, you have very supportive Pokemon in Jolteon and Murkrow. So for example, if you're bringing both of these, you're indexing all of your offense on like the other 2 Pokemon, right? And so like, just keep that in mind, because Jolteon's not really going to deal damage, and it is very easy for it to just kind of be useless after kind of activating the Dunsparce or maybe setting up Light Screen or, Baby Doll Eyes. Like, yeah, I can disrupt your opponent a little bit, but it's not going to actually deal damage. You need to ask yourself, how can I actually deal enough damage? I think so much of this team and strategy revolves around the Dunsparce, and so if the Dunsparce just gets blown up by like a double target immediately, you could just lose the game off that, right? And so it's all about enabling the Dunsparce in positions where you feel safe enough to go for the self-pin missile, and also safe enough to be able to just KO your opponent before they can actually get a move off, which is really, really critical. I think one thing to note is that you also don't have Protect on the Gardevoir, the Murkrow, the Meowscarada, or the Jolteon, so that leaves you exposed to many things. I've struggled a little bit against Trick Room, especially when they have NDD, because Quash can be valuable into Trick Room, but when they have Psychic Terrain, well, that's not as ideal. And I think for me, big question is how you fit in Annihilate and when can you actually bring it and, feel comfortable with it, because the rest of the team is fairly fast-paced and offensive, right? But yeah, like you do have good speed control with Murkrow, but slower teams can be a problem. The Dunsparce also, like if you go into like a Dark-type Pokemon, right, that can be pretty problematic because it relies very heavily on stored power, and so Dark-type Pokemon can be kind of tough to, go for, and accounting for Terras, especially when you're facing those Dark-type Pokemon, can be tricky. Yes, you do have Boom Burst and Flamethrower, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll like pick up big one-hit knockouts, because like I mentioned, Dudunsparce's base special attack isn't necessarily amazing. So yeah, those are just a couple of the things that I've struggled against. Another thing to call out is redirection, actually. If you have Follow Me, whether it be from like an Indeedee, a Mousehold, or Rage Powder Amoonguss, you can just redirect the Pin Missile away. So if I see a redirection user on my opponent's team, I'm immediately inclined to not start the game with Jolteon and Dudunsparce and maybe try to KO the redirection user early. But if your opponent conserves the redirection user for when you have Jolteon and Dudunsparce out on the field together, it's going to be a nightmare for you to deal with, because then the Jolteon just can't really self-activate the strategy. And then the Dudunsparce, if it does not get the Pin Missile onto it, is just so weak, honestly. Like, this is not a strong Pokemon unless you get this specific combination off. So general redirection can be annoying. Naturally, Fake Out here to just stop Jolteon immediately, turn 1 on activating the Dunsparce can also be a problem. And so yeah, those are just a couple of things that I have run into. So yeah, let's get into the battles. Okay, we've got Talonflame, Rotom, Sylveon, Garchomp, Hydreigon, and Gengar. Looks like something from 2014 and 2015, honestly, which is cool. I think in this one, it makes sense to set up Tailwind to maybe match their Tailwind and then play towards Dunsparce. So I'm thinking Murkrow Gardevoir for early pressure, and then Jolteon plus the Dunsparce in the back. Like, Choice Scarf Gardevoir is really nice because it applies a lot of pressure to things like Gengar, Garchomp, Hydreigon. Might even force a Terra out for my opponent, which I think is cool. I think Annihilate doesn't fit in super well in this matchup. Has to worry about Will-O-Wisps from the Gengar as well as the Rotom. I have to defensively Terra just to help myself against the Sylveon and Talonflame. Actually, Choice Band Scarlet is really solid here as well, but the reason I'm not as hesitant or not as confident with it is because if I were to bring it, I'd probably want to lead it. But if I'm leading Murkrow plus the Meowscarada, Talonflame can just pressure me with priority Brave Bird immediately, which is not ideal. And like, I think Jolteon and Dudunsparce here would be a really good combo if they did not have the Talonflame, but I think I have to respect the Tailwind from their end. So essentially, it's like I want to match your Tailwind, use Gardevoir to outspeed you while Tailwind is up, and then use Jolteon to set up Dudunsparce, and then Dudunsparce can ideally just outspeed everything and KO things. So I think one thing to worry about here is, potential Focus Sash on Gengar. Sash in general is just kind of annoying for this team, I would say. Let's see. I feel like I really ran down on the timer there. So yeah, the idea is set up Tailwind to match their Tailwind, and then just consistently outspeed them with Gardevoir, Jolteon, and Dudunsparce. It does feel kind of rough to not bring Meowscarada into this matchup. I feel like it's a really good Pokemon. I go with Gengar and Rotom. Okay. That is interesting. I actually am a little bit worried about Trick Room from Gengar, interestingly enough. I don't know if they'll have it. Honestly, like turn 1, I don't need to set up Tailwind. I think I'm down to just Psyshock and Foul Play Gengar, because I don't know if they'll expect Choice Scarf. I can see Gengar protecting, and I don't know, Rotom just going for a Thunderbolt on a Murkrow, but because of Eviolite, I should survive that. If Rotom goes for something like Nasty Plot, fine, I can just go for Haze. And Gengar, even though the Dudunsparce is currently normal, when I turn into Psychic, Gengar obviously has a super effective Shadow Ball into us. So I don't mind trying to prioritize a KO onto it right now. Because from their perspective, they might think, okay, yeah, you're going to go for Tailwind plus an attack on turn 1. And like I said, I also want to cover for the option of it having Trick Room. And like I said as well, like Focus Sash is kind of an annoying item to break through for this team. Cursed Body activates though, okay. They do just go for Shadow Ball though, so that's fine. I assume we are getting KO'd here. Oh, we actually do survive, okay. Thunderbolt into Murkrow, that's fine. Getting Disable here is actually quite awkward, I would say. Because it prevents me from getting like some free damage off before fainting. And I really don't want to switch out Gardevoir either. And they should know I'm Choice Scarfed at this point. So my eggs are basically in the Dudunsparce basket, I would say, for this endgame. But I feel fairly confident being able to win with it, I would say. So Sylveon comes out. We can Tailwind now. I guess I could theoretically just switch into Jolteon here. That might be worth it if Jolteon survives the turn. I'm just worried about it fainting to a Hyper Voice plus an attack, but I actually don't think that'll be the case. And conserving Gardevoir for Dazzling Gleams later on is actually really critical in my opinion. So I'm down to switch. They ended up not going for the Talonflame route, which is fine by me. I just wanted to make sure I could outspeed my opponent in this matchup. Rotom actually switches. Okay. Cool. Garchomp. Oh, they actually brought Talonflame in the back. Interesting. Okay. So I'll get Tailwind up. They're going to get Hyper Voice off. Probably Throat Spray. But the thing is, now I should outspeed them consistently, right? Because I can get the Dudunsparce set up. Okay. So, we are going to bring out Dudunsparce now. And I am going to go for Terra here, Stored Power into Sylveon, and Pin Missile into Dudunsparce. Because, like, this is what I was going for, right? I was like, I need Murkrow because otherwise they can just set up Tailwind and outpace me before I even get the setup off. I was expecting maybe Talonflame lead rather than in the back, but this is still fine. Thinking about Terras, I don't think they should have any Terras that, can wall Dudunsparce, which is good. Sylveon, generally, Fire is the Terra that you see the most. Talonflame, I'm mainly seeing, like, Flying, occasionally Ghost to get around, like, Fake Out. Rotom Wash can be flexible, Electric, Fire. But, yeah, we'll see. I think one of my questions here is the Sylveon Protect, because if it doesn't, we just get a knockout onto that slot, and we can snowball this very quickly. And I do have that Gardevoir in the back, so it can give me, like, one big hit. But they did a good job not bringing either Dragon types. Gardevoir would have been a little bit better in the endgame against those, Okay. Oh, interesting. Talonflame's just attacking here. Okay. They're not going for Tailwind. I think that's smart. We'll see if they can KO us in return. But the thing is, if you don't KO us, you should take Recoil. Well, I guess they could be running like, I don't know, Will-O-Wisp? You could really go for that. I'm not sure. Either way, the Dudunsparce is going to outpace pretty consistently, and I would think we could survive like a Flare Blitz or a Brave Bird as well. And we only get 4 hits on ourselves, which is nice as well. So stored power here now onto the Sylveon slot. Weakness policy boosted. Amazing. That's out of the way now. Okay. They're just going to Flare Blitz here. Okay. Nice. The Dudunsparce takes that like a champ. The burn is very annoying here, actually. Don't love seeing that. Oh man, does that cost me the game? I don't think so. Because I do have Boom Burst here as well. So like Boom Burst into a Moonblast I think would KO Rotom. I guess it's if like Talonflame protects here. Because without that burn, I think I could just go Baby Doll Eyes plus Stored Power, and I don't think they have any counterplay to that other than a crit or a burn. So it's a little unfortunate, but that's fine. I do think I want a Boom Burst here. Sacrifice Jolteon to get the free switch into Gardevoir. Boom Burst and yeah, Baby Doll Eyes won't really go off here. Oh, Rotom protects. Okay, I think that wins us the game, because that means Talonflame isn't protecting. Unless Boom Burst does not KO Talonflame at +2. I would be surprised about that. So that, yeah, the Baby Doll Eyes actually, you know, helps out a little bit there as well. And beautiful, that KOs Talonflame. That was a crit. Not sure if it mattered. It depends on how much bulk Talonflame had, but I would say it makes up for the burn, right? Because I think if the burn didn't happen, I felt like this game was fairly locked up, given that we had Baby Doll Eyes. I'm curious if you are like max HP, for example, whether or not you could survive. So, you know, you have to be pretty meticulous when playing with the strategy, because like you are doing a fair amount of damage to your own Dudunsparce with this setup, but now I can just store power and go for Moonblast. We should be good here. Yeah, because like what's a Tera that would resist stored power or is immune? Okay, they actually just don't Tera at all. Fine by me. So this should just get the knockout. Beautiful. Yeah, that burn scared me a little bit. I don't know. Boom Burst is a really powerful attack, and we were at +2 special attack thanks to weakness policy, so I felt decent about that KOing Talonflame. I think my one concern there is if Talonflame at Protect, Rotom survives, KOs the Dunsparce, and then I just knocked out my own Jolteon. I don't think Gardevoir could win the 2v1 from that position because I was at such low HP. So it was a little bit dicey there. But yeah, either way, that's exactly what Jolteon and the Dunsparce can do. So I'm glad to feature this combination here. And yeah, showcase how valuable, you know, the Pin Missile into Stored Power combination really can be. Okay, we've got Tyranitar, Lycanroc, Rotom, Annihilate, Tatsugiri, Dondozo. I actually featured this team recently on YouTube. So if you want to see me play with the team my opponent's using, check out the video down in the description below. The idea, this might be a different variant, but on that version of the team, it had Flying Tera, Assault Vest, Tyranitar, which is a really cool set just in general. Focus Sash, Lycanroc with Endure plus Endeavor, Choice Specs, Rotom Key, Choice Scarf, Annihilate, and then Dondozo plus Tatsugiri. And I believe it was like Rest, Sleep, Talk, Dondozo. We actually didn't use the Dondozo combo when I had featured the team. So because of Murkrow, often I think a lot of players, like I actually ran into this team while practicing, they just led Tyranitar Lycanroc with Rotom plus Annihilate in the back. And honestly, it's kind of annoying to break through Tyranitar plus Lycanroc. Especially because of the Flying Tera. I could go for something like Murkrow. Murkrow would allow me to set up Tailwind. I could just go with Jolteon immediately. It's tough. I'm going Murkrow plus Annihilate. I'm not sure that's the smartest idea, but basically with this, I want ideally to win the game with Jolteon plus the Dunsparce, but I don't know. Basically, when I played this team previously, I led Gardevoir plus Meowscarada. Didn't really end up being super effective, though. It's tough. I think essentially here, like, I can bait out the Flying Tera immediately from Tyranitar, but it might mean that I'm forced to Tera Annihilate immediately, which doesn't feel great. Like, here, they're probably going to Flying Tera and then just, like, Rock Slide, for example. I guess I could always just Protect on turn 1 here. The thing is, Fire Tera here makes me weak to Rock Slide, which doesn't feel good, right? Okay, I'm going to Protect. And I think I actually want to Foul Play here to break Lycanroc's Focus Sash. Then Tailwind next turn. So there's Tera. Yep. I think the debate is just whether or not I want to go for Tera on the Annihilate. I think a Meowscarada lead here may have been better for me, actually. We're gonna Protect. There's Rock Slide from Lycanroc. This is why Flying Tera, Tyranitar with Tera Blast is so strong, by the way. It's such a cool combo. Get flinched. Okay. That's a really frustrating flinch, gotta say, because it would have been able to break the Focus Sash. Yeah, so that's really not ideal. Okay. Well, I can Tailwind here. But Rock Slide plus Tera Blast will just KO me. So I think I'm going to switch out into Jolteon right now. Yeah, like, my main problem in fighting against the Lycanroc T-Tar combination is, like, the Lycanroc being able to Rock Slide and just, like, flinch stuff while having Focus Sash is such a big issue. It's not very easy to break through. Got Jolteon. Basically, like, I wanted to break through the Focus Sash because then I could just KO it with one hit, right? But now I have to spend 2 hits to KO Lycanroc, which is not ideal. So there's Tera Blast, yep. That does so much damage as well. But I think it's okay if I am able to... I mean, I should be able to get the, stored power combo off here. Just don't know if it actually KOs Tyranitar is the problem. But let's go for it. We're going to Pin Missile here, Tera, and just stored power. Because once Tyranitar's out of the way, then Annihilate maybe can put in some more work. With Tailwind plus the speed boost, I can also just outspeed everything with the Dunsparce. And they have... It's Choice Scarf Rotom plus Choice Specs Rotom plus Choice Band Annihilate in the back. And so the Dunsparce can just one-shot both of those while speeding them. But this is why I really wanted to... Oh, they switch out Tyranitar, okay. It's fine by me. Into Rotom, okay. Yeah, but this is why I really valued breaking the Focus Sash on Lycanroc earlier. If we didn't flinch there, I'd be able to just, like... Because I'd say the Tyranitar doesn't threaten the Dunsparce as much as the Lycanroc, right? Which is why it's a little bit frustrating, but it's fine. The problem now is that, like, I still haven't broken through Focus Sash, right? Annihilate can beat the Lycanroc in the end game, but I have to get through Tyranitar, and they did a good job switching out Tyranitar here. So, yeah. I think my game plan was actually pretty solid here. If we didn't get flinched on turn 1, and, the odds are much more in our favor for them to either miss or not flinch than for them to. Also, honestly, yeah, clearing Rotom here is a pretty big deal, because Specs Rotom is not easy to play against given the Annihilate in the back. But basically, unless they knew about the Dunsparce Tera here, like, Tyranitar wouldn't be able to KO me with Rock Slide, and then we would just be able to outspeed everything and ideally one-shot everything. So here's stored power. Should one-shot Rotom. Yep. And they're going to Rock Slide with Lycanroc, presumably. They could close combat, actually. Oh, that's huge. Okay, that's absolutely huge. Yeah, that's such a big deal because now I just survive for an extra turn for free. And I do have Baby Doll Eyes. But it might be better to just Pin Missile the Lycanroc to break Sash. Interesting debate. Interesting debate. Like, Baby Doll Eyes here helps me survive with the Dudunsparce. I think Annihilate is their last one, so I'm kind of down to go for the Baby Doll Eyes to guarantee that I survive. And then Stored Power. I just don't know if Stored Power KOs Assault Vest Tyranitar here is the problem. Dudunsparce is faster right now thanks to Tailwind. Okay. Here's Stored Power. Nice. It KOs Tyranitar. Okay. So it's like, presumably they're going to Rock Slide here, right? And now that they're at -1, I should survive. And if Annihilate's their last one, I should just one-shot the Annihilate with Stored Power as well. Just need to avoid getting crit here, I think. Nice. Beautiful. I actually probably could have survived Rock Slide anyway. I just wasn't 100% sure. And I'm fairly sure Annihilate's their last one. I guess if it's Tatsugiri or even Dondozo, it becomes a little bit more interesting. But now we've cleared Tyranitar, so Annihilate can, you know, thrive against the Lycanroc. Yep, hits Annihilate. Perfect. And that's Choice Scarf on that side, so we'll be able to just outspeed and one-shot it. And you have Endeavor, Close Combat, Rock Slide. None of that really beats the Annihilate here now that I've cleared your field. So, yeah, we can just go for the KO onto Annihilate here, and then... I mean, double Drain Punching is fine into Lycanroc, because they can't Endeavor us. So just Stored Power here. They can't Protect. Oh, amazing. Oh, Dudunsparce really got to go off in this one. What we were able to take advantage of is the lack of Protects, right? Like, they don't have Protect on Tyranitar, Rotom, or the Annihilate, so I was able to just one-shot everything. That made my life a lot easier. There's Rock Slide. Yeah. Like, the moveset is Rock Slide, Close Combat, Endure, plus Endeavor, so Annihilate completely walls it. That's why you have the Flying Terra Tyranitar, and that's why I wanted to prioritize KOing that. 2 flinch, okay. But you would need... How many... Actually, with leftovers, I don't think they could ever win this game. Because the Rock Slides just don't do nearly enough. And I can just keep protecting, obviously. So, yeah, we'll just Drain Punch. It's more optimal, theoretically, to just protect Annihilate here to guarantee that we're at full HP, but it's a 4 HP difference. It just doesn't matter. Like, I just need 2 hits to win this game. 213 to 192, right? It's not even doing... I mean, that's, yeah, doing like just over 20 damage. And so it's like with leftovers, like there's no way for them to actually win this, even if they like flinch crit multiple times, because they just keep protecting basically. And you can't Endeavor me here either. So that's why I actually wanted to bring Annihilate, because it does beat the Lycanroc, and Lycanroc is one of the biggest problems for us. But yeah, really happy to showcase how we can activate the Dudunsparce in kind of the late game, and just be able to completely sweep with it. So yeah, that flinch on turn 1 was a little bit frustrating, but we were able to still play out of it, which was good. And once again, like the margin for error for this team, I think is fairly slim, because you are relying very much on the Dudunsparce to do almost all the damage. But if this thing gets set up, it's really difficult for opposing teams to be able to like effectively KO it. And you have enough bulk where you can go for the Pinmilso combo, and a Dudunsparce can survive an attack or two. And you can see the value of Baby Doll Eyes on Jolteon in that match as well. So yeah, what a fun one there. Okay, we've got Meowscarada, Indeedee, Armor Rouge, Torkoal, King Gambit, and Sylveon. So, you know, very clear Trick Room component here. I think with Indeedee plus Trick Room, this is going to be really hard to break through, honestly. Because our team is fairly fast-paced. Doesn't have that much bulk. Basically, like, the Jolteon to Dudunsparce stuff doesn't work when you have Follow Me, right? So they could very easily, say, just lead Indeedee plus Armor Rouge. And that causes me some early problems. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. This actually, I wouldn't say it's like a complete auto loss, but it looks awful matchup-wise. We'll still try our best. Jolteon does have Light Screen, which can help. Like, I'm actually thinking, I just don't think the Dudunsparce can be that effective in this game. I'm actually thinking like Jolteon Light Screen, Terra Annihilate turn 1, and start bulk upping with this thing. Gosh, this is so tricky. Meowscarada. I'll still bring Dudunsparce in the back. Oh, you know what? I am going to go Dudunsparce, I think. I changed my mind. We do have Boom Burst with it. So, like, if they don't go for Follow Me, I could theoretically... I don't know. I don't think the Annihilate strat really works that effectively anyway. It's like, yeah, I turn into Fire Tera, I get a bulk up off, and I have Light Screen up. But, like, you still have Indy plus Armor Rouge plus strong sweepers on the back. That is going to be Indy and Armor Rouge, though. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say the debate on turn 1 is, do you just go for... Do you go for Trick Room here? Because I could set up Light Screen. I'm going to be honest. Actually, I mean, what would Indy do here? Let's not Follow Me. Helping Hand. Basically, because this matchup is so bad, I'm thinking about, like, trying to win off my opponent, just not expecting this strat. It's really high risk in my opinion, but because this matchup honestly looks abysmal, I'm down to go for it. Pin Missile, Terra, and just stored power. Because, I don't know, maybe Indy protects, maybe it goes for, like, Helping Hand on Armor Rouge. But I think the reality of the situation here is that it's just not an easy matchup. The initial approach I was thinking about, the Jolteon plus Annihilate, like, maybe it could have worked, but I don't know. It's not like Drain Punch even does that much damage, and Fire Tera, like, helps a little bit, but... This is already better, like a stronger start than, oh, unless they're just Psychicking the Dudunsparce. Maybe I should have gone for Boom Burst instead then. I definitely didn't expect Armor Rouge Protect. I think the other interesting thing is on Armor Rouge sets, can you fit Protect? Because you want, you know, Armor Cannon, Expanding Force, and then a combination of Trick Room, Wide Guard, and Protect. So if I had to guess, they dropped Wide Guard. But yeah, Entity Psychic might actually just KO me, which would be very bad for me right now. Let's see. That's the one Trick Rooming. Oh. Also, I said Psychic. Sorry, I'm Psychic. I would take that fine. For some reason, I thought I turned into Poison for a second. I can Light Screen now. And Protect, but I can't cover for Trick Room on both of these Pokemon on turn 1. But I guess if I had actually, like, gone for the combo and targeted Indy, I actually would have been in decent shape. But yeah, this matchup is, like, abysmal in my opinion. Yeah, I guess I'll try to set up a Light Screen here. And then Protect. But Trick Room is just so hard to go up against. Because we're relying on generally fast Pokemon. Armor Cannon. Okay, the Armor Cannon into the Protect, which is good. And Hyper Voice. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen Hyper Voice on any female in a bit. It's not much damage. Get Light Screen up. I mean, if I can somehow survive this next turn, that would be huge. You went for Armor Cannon and Hyper Voice. So I think we can bring in Annihilate relatively freely here. And Boom Burst next to the Annihilate. Okay, if I survive Armor Cannon, hold on. Like, this is doable. That's King Gambit coming in. Okay, that makes sense. But Annihilate's pretty good into King Gambit, and I set up Light Screen, so yeah, this is doable. Given that I thought this was literally game over before the game started, at least we're still in it. Oh. Well, that's not great. They're Life Orbed, okay. Yeah, that is definitely not great. Switching an Annihilate onto that is one of the worst feelings. If I just stayed in with Jolteon, I could have just sacrificed it. Oh, that's really frustrating. Bad play on my end. Yeah, in my head, I was just like, oh, I don't think I need to conserve Jolteon in that position. I shouldn't have risked Expanding Force. Yeah. The upside is, like, even with the matchup being shaky, there's very clear, like, turns where I just didn't play super well. So even with a slightly suboptimal matchup, like, this was actually super winnable in my opinion. It still is winnable. I think here I'm okay to just double Protect. I honestly think we just go for like we go for Protect with both Pokemon here, and then I go for like a consecutive Protect with the Dunsparce and try to go for the 1 in 3 chance next turn. Yeah, it was really bad to let Annihilate take that much damage. It's okay. So we're going to protect with both Pokemon here, and then I'm going to switch out Annihilate into Jolteon, sacrifice that. And I actually think if I do get the consecutive protects off with the Dunsparce, we could actually very realistically win this one. Yep, so they cleave and just Hyper Voice, presumably. Yep. Okay. And the reason I could basically win if I got the consecutive protect off is because I can now sacrifice Jolteon. Actually, I don't know if Jolteon faints, to be honest. I think I gotta go into Jolteon, though. So we'll switch out. Go for a double. Oh, that's really interesting. They switch out. Okay. Huh. I think... Is that in my favor? Yeah, I would argue so, right? Because then Banded Meowscarada can come back out. I have Choice Band U-turn with it. But we don't get the consecutive protect off. Okay. I think with that, this game is probably over, but we'll see. Yeah, it's just tough because I took way too much damage with that. Ooh, dropped my headphones there. I took way too much damage with that expanding force on the switch in against Armor Rouge. I also just didn't expect Protect plus Trick Room coming out from Indeedee, which I should have. Like, I feel like I was too fixated on the Trick Room coming out from the Trick Room coming out from the Armor Rouge. Yeah, which was a bad assumption. I don't really see an out here, truthfully. Maybe it's just Flower Trick. They're gonna follow me here, right? Actually, there is a slide out, I think. They should follow me and just Hyper Voice here. Tera. It's probably Fire Tera. That wins my opponent the game. Huh. Okay, wait, that actually makes a lot of sense. Now you follow me and you survive any attack from... Wait, but they didn't follow me. Oh, I should have maybe gone for Thunder Wave there instead. I don't think Meowscarada gets the KO here. It's like 10-15% of chip from Pin Missile. Oh, they're probably just Trick Rooming here with Indeedee anyway. Yeah, if Indeedee just Trick Rooms, I lose the game, right? Yeah, they're definitely Trick Rooming. Why would you go for anything else? Oh, we actually almost KO'd there. Wow. There's Hyper Voice. Yeah. You know what? Given how shaky this matchup looked, I'm glad I at least brought it to this point, and it was actually quite winnable. I think I played very poorly with the Annihilate on that switch in. I think I should have sacrificed Jolteon. I'm still just getting used to Indeedee female actually getting Trick Room. Because, of course, it did it in Sword and Shield. And it is currently allowed. So, yeah. With that, don't really see an out here. You just Hyper Voice. So, yeah. GG. Man, I wonder if we... Like, if I had just gone for Stored Power, though, onto the Indeedee slot on turn 1, could have maybe just won. But it's tough, right? Like, I can never comfortably find a safe turn 1 play in this matchup. And that's what makes it tricky. Maybe the Jolteon Annihilate route was the right one to go with, but the Dunsparce did apply a lot of offensive pressure. And so, yeah, I think, like, Trick Room is just scary, though, right? Because this team generally relies on being faster with Meowscarada, Jolteon, and the Dunsparce's ability. We don't have that much bulk to stall out Trick Room either. So, yeah, I feel like there's some turns I definitely could have played better in that one, but it's... Those turns are... Turn 1, like, I don't really regret. It's mainly the Annihilate switch in, right? Because that Annihilate could have at least given me some more value if I had conserved it for a little bit longer. And turn 1, I think, yeah. I guess, though, because Indeedee is, like, very rarely going to protect in that situation. It's almost always going to follow me or Trick Room, and I didn't consider Trick Room very much. And if they go for follow me, my strat just doesn't even work anyway. So I was hedging off them, going for an attack or protecting. Yeah, actually, I think assessing the scenario, since it was already looking so doomed and I lose to a follow me Trick Room anyway, I should just, like, target the Indeedee slot. And that would actually... I won't say it won me the game immediately, but then I would have just had Dudunsparce activated. They don't get Trick Room up. I can just set up Light Screen and then target the Armor slot for... Well, I guess they could switch Armor into King Gambit is the problem, but then I can Flamethrower King Gambit if it switches in for NDD. So, yeah. Really interesting game, though. Huh. Kilowattra, Rangaroo, King Gambit, Garchomp, Torkoal, and Lilligant. Rangaroo scares me here if they want to go the Trick Room route. I could trick Choice Scarf onto it, which is interesting, though. Dudunsparce is solid. I don't know. Jolteon Sparse. Like, maybe they're scared of... They could go Torkoal Lilligant totally, though, right? Meowscarada, Annihilate. It's the hybrid between Torkoal Lilligant, Sun Mode, as well as Trick Room, as well as Tailwind. They have, like, multiple things that can immediately give them good speed control. Which is tricky. Because, yeah, like... Their ability to... Like, if they just lead Torkoal Lilligant, what would my best counterplay to that even be? Annihilate Fire Terra turn 1, Murkrow, maybe? It's Garchomp and Kilowattrel. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if Garchomp... Like, Garchomp probably feels pretty safe here, so I'm gonna just Pin Missile, Terra, Stored Power. Like, I'm hoping they're like, oh, I can just Discharge or Tailwind plus Earthquake right now. And then be like, nope. If they don't set up Tailwind here, that would also be amazing. Because then the Dudunsparce can just... And Jolteon can just outpace everything. This is probably one of the better leads I could have run into. Okay, they're not going to protect. I could have gone for Boom Burst, maybe. I'm just not 100% confident on that +2 Boom Burst KOing Garchomp. I'd rather guarantee the knockout onto that early, because that also obviously counters Jolteon with Earthquake. Okay. 4 hits, 5 hits. Okay, we get the combo. There's Stored Power. Into Garchomp. Should be a 1-hit knockout. Nice, that's out of the way. What does Kilowattrel aim for here? Is it Tailwind? Okay, they just go for Volt Switch. Woof! That was a lot of damage, though. It almost makes me think it's Choice Specs. Now's the debate. I mean, if you have King Gambit, you could just Sucker Punch me, which is not ideal. There's King Gambit coming out. Okay, that scares me a good amount. Boomburst may have actually been better there, but I was expecting Focus Sash, Kilowattrel, and certainly not Volt Switch. And that positioning is really nice. Gives them a free switch in. And a Rangaroo comes out. Okay. Well, with this, you expect just Sucker Punch, surely. Is there any world in which they don't Sucker Punch here? I'm down to Thunder Wave. And just protect this turn. Might as well induce some paralysis. Yeah, actually, maybe Light Screen first. I don't know if a Rangaroo is Psychic. Thunder Wave. Okay, I'm down to Thunder Wave and Protect here. Dudunsparce protects. There's Sucker Punch, yep. Nice, Jolteon doesn't miss Thunder Wave. Okay, so now King Gambit has to attack through Paralysis, which is beneficial for us. Oh, they actually just Foul Play instead of Trick Rooming. Okay. Well, now if they get full parrot, I actually think they would just lose the game because of that. So we'll see. I'm gonna Light Screen. And I will just go for a Flamethrower here. Oh, okay, that was definitely lucky. But that's exactly why I went for Thunder Wave, right? 25% chance for the para. Flamethrower does not KO, though. Okay, so maybe my opponent's still fine here, honestly. I wonder if it's Assault Vest, and I would not have expected it to survive there. Okay, they get Trick Room up now. So we know it's Foul Play, which is okay. Honestly, like, now my Annihilate is looking really solid, right? I can Pin Missile now into... I mean, I should just focus on King Gambit here. Or they could foul play this slot. Cleave this slot. I don't mind, I think, getting a free switching into Annihilate. They also have Tera, which is interesting, right? Baby dies. We don't want to activate Defiant here. Okay, I'm down to Thunder Wave. And just protect here. Draw one, like stall Trick Room a little bit. Because I have Meowscarada in the back. Okay, nicely done. Yet the cleave into the Jolteon slot. We actually survive. It's one of those positions, though, where honestly I would have not minded fainting. Because now... Ooh, now it is quite awkward. I missed Thunder Wave, it looks like. That's fine. Got lucky enough to even got the pair earlier. They're just going to look to cleave here. And then foul play into the Dudunsparce. I don't think it's worth conserving this. But then I just lose both Pokemon. But then, yeah, Meowscarada being dark helps a little bit here. So maybe it's okay. They should always foul play to Dudunsparce here. Continue to Thunder Wave. I doubt I'll ever get this Boom Burst off, but if somehow they let me, that'd be sick. Another cleave on a Jolteon. Yep. Yeah, Jolteon's fainting last turn, giving me a free switch into the Annihilate would have been excellent for me, but now I actually just lose both Pokemon, unfortunately, which is not ideal. Now they can foul play plus, like, Iron Head double up onto a slot, right? Yeah, I really thought Flamethrower would have done more to King Gambit earlier. But what were my other options? Just Boom Burst or Stored Power? King Gambit plus Oranguru, not exactly the best duo for me to go up against with the Dudunsparce. 2 turns of Trick Room left. Drain Punch. And Knock Off, I think, is what I want to go for here. I wonder if they Tera. Like, who are they saving the Tera for? Kilowatt Roll? I think I lose if they just foul play Iron Head Meowscarada. But I don't know if they have the conviction to double up into that. They don't. Oh, that's huge. I should survive, right? Nice. No flinch. Beautiful. We get Drain Punch off. Okay, awesome. That's huge. I might still lose to Kilowattrel, though, honestly. Depends if Kilowattrel is Protect. If they don't have Protect, I think we have, what, one more turn of Trick Room to work with, so we would win. Oh, but I get rid of my Grass typing now, which is also huge. What was the item on this? Mentor. Makes sense. Okay. So Kilowattrel is going to come out. That Volt Switch damage earlier felt like Choice Specs, honestly, but I'm not sure. Oh, but yeah, like I mentioned, because I got rid of the Grass typing with Knockoff, I don't think they one-shot us. We could bulk up here, but I don't think I actually really need it. I'm down to just Drain Punch in this position and Knockoff. Yeah, they don't Protect. I want to say it's Specs based off turn 1, but I don't know. Let's see. Because Volt Switch on Kilowattrel is kind of surprising to see as an attack. But it would make sense on a Choice Spec set. Okay. Kilowattrel faints. Was it Specs? Yes, okay. That's what I thought. Glad my internal damage calculator actually was working in the beginning of the game, because I was like, that did way too much damage for me to think it's any other item. But yeah. You know, the Dudunsparce didn't really fully go off in this one, but it was very crucial in just KOing Garchomp. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like Specs Kilowattrel, Choice Band Garchomp, just Discharge Earthquake, you know, combination. And so, yeah, we were able to KO Garchomp immediately, force them to set up Trick Room. We got that lucky paralysis on King Gambit. Yeah, in the end, like, King Gambit survived for a couple turns. I think, like, the lack of Tera maybe punished my opponent a little bit. They didn't have a good position to Tera, really, at any point. King Gambit, I think, was the only one that had the opportunity to. I think the turn that I got the Para and then Flamethrower went off, like, that was an opportunity for them to Tera. But it makes sense for them to maybe not feel, like, fully confident in that current position. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Hopefully, it has shown you now the power of the Dudunsparce. Like I said, I think this is more of a fun strategy rather than like, oh, I'm going to seriously win with this consistently on high ladder. But if you execute it properly, this thing can look absolutely amazing. And it is definitely one of the best ways you can utilize the Dudunsparce, honestly, because in the end, this Pokemon is just like pretty mediocre overall. But what's fun about Pokemon is finding ways to maximize the value of all these Pokemon, no matter how good or how, like mediocre they may look. So yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thanks so much as always for watching. My name's Aaron CybertronZeng, and I'll see you all next time. All right. Peace.